Councilmember Robert Rodriguez from East Harlem, from El Barrio. Take office ultimately cannot happen. Like State Senator Salazar, he also has already introduced legislation to find money that could be made available for public housing. This is money that's legislation ready. We're going to go over it later, but I just want you to know he's already done this for us. He's demonstrated and proved to the other elected officials that the money can be found. It really can be found. And there's another long list of people. I'm just going to put one big slide here with a lot of names. Some of them are here tonight. Diego from the Honorable Assembly Member's office is here. Ramon and Boris are here from State Senator Salazar's office. Marnie from Fight for NYCHA, who also makes this possible. Curly is our translator. We owe her a big thanks. Please, people are here to make tonight happen. Everybody from Fulton, everybody from Chelsea, from Elliott Houses and Harborview. We did a lot of outreach. Tonight shows that people are willing to come together. Not on this list, but there's a lot of people at Fulton Houses that show leadership. Mary McGee is she's doing a remarkable job. She has to represent the tenants' best interests. She's interested in representing her tenants. This is a big deal because they already have a tenant president, but he's not doing the job. She's having to shoulder responsibility that someone else was given, but he's not doing it. And this is not an easy job. We have to give her credit. Mary, can you please stand up? You need to be recognized. Would you like to say a couple words before we start? Would you like to say a couple words, please?
I couldn't do it without you. This is not a me thing, this is a we thing. And I just want to say, by doing this together, our voices are being heard. Our concerns are being heard. We're making noise. People expect people who live in public housing to keep quiet. But we can't do that. We cannot let society walk all over us. We matter, and we need to let them know that we matter. These are our homes. You can't come in and say you're going to demolish 2 buildings because you want to build high-rise buildings so you can benefit someone else. It is not going to benefit us in any way or form. So it's very important that you see this room here, that we continue to fight together. It doesn't matter if we're Elliott, if we're Chelsea, if we're Harborview, if we're from whatever housing development, because we're one family. We're the family. And we need to stay strong. We're the NYCHA family. And what people don't understand is like, oh, somebody else is fighting for this. Oh, I could just stay home. No, we need you out your homes and out there fighting with us, because numbers makes progress. Our group is a small group, and we've done a hell of a lot. And I'm very proud of each and every one of you who have come out and advocated for Fight for NYCHA and with Fulton Houses Independent Association. Because without your voice, without your fight, we wouldn't be where we are today. So this is just the beginning. And at the end, we're going to raise our hands in victory because we did it together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Very good. It is true. What's been happening for so long is that NYCHA has treated people without dignity. They force you to live in homes that have no dignity. And it's important for us to recognize that we each deserve to live a life that we are proud about, that we live in homes that we are proud about, and that we live lives that have dignity. We owe each other self-worth. When the system won't give it to us, we have to give it to ourselves.
Amen.
So thank you so much. We have to treat each other with dignity. Okay, we're gonna try to go through some of the beginning part rather quickly because I want tonight is a town hall and we're gonna have an opportunity for people to speak about the budget. Why are we here? We're here because NYCHA is at a crisis point. The immediate cause of why NYCHA is in this situation is because there was a lead paint poisoning crisis. The U.S. Attorney's Office had to, sorry, let me move on. There was a federal investigation into the lead paint crisis at NYCHA. This brought the federal government to investigate NYCHA. And NYCHA was accused of lying to the public. They were accused of filing false reports with the government. And after much resistance, the chair of NYCHA had to resign. The general manager had to resign. The government appointed a federal monitor. And there's also now a new chief executive who is very controversial. He was brought in here to basically privatize NYCHA because there's no money. That led to this settlement. The mayor was forced to settle with HUD, and that created the crisis point. We're at a turning point right now with NYCHA. They claim NYCHA needs $32 billion. This is a very small number, but I'm going to read it out to you. This is the first proposed settlement that NYCHA took to HUD and to the judge. In very small numbers, at the very bottom right-hand corner, it says $4 billion. $4 billion in change. That's all the city was willing to give to NYCHA. NYCHA needs $32 billion. The judge looked at this and said, that's not sufficient. NYCHA needs $32 billion, and all the city's willing to give is $4 billion. And this was going to be spread out over 10 years. 10 years. So people who need elevators, hot water boilers, repairs for leaks, new floors, because the floors get damaged, they were going to have to wait 10 years. The judge said, no, this is not sufficient. So NYCHA came back with a new plan. And this is the one that was signed. It's only about $2.8 million. It's less money. The judge accepted less money.
What?
So this opened the door for the mayor to consider RAD. RAD is a federal program that we're here to try to stop. RAD is a program that brings in private landlords to manage public housing. They collect the rent. They decide who lives in public housing. They sign the leases. They write the leases. These won't be HUD leases that you sign. They're going to be private Section 8 leases that the landlord gets to be able to add riders. And it's in those riders that the landlord can set very strict house rules. And under that, a violation of a house rule is considered grounds for eviction. There are other risks with RAD, including restraining, tenant harassment. The mayor has claimed he formed a round table where they would protect the rights of tenants. And that turned out to be a lie, because the mayor's own showcase for RAD is called Ocean Bay. That's located in Far Rockaway. It came out in a report published by City Limits that 10% of all NYCHA evictions happen at a RAD development. So this is the problem. NYCHA needs $32 billion. At Fulton Houses alone, they need $168 million. At Chelsea and Elliott, they're combined still by Community Board 4, they need $176 million. Harborview needs $46 million. And this is what we're here to expose. Every year the politicians say, we care about NYCHA, we care about NYCHA. But every budget year, every fiscal year, they don't set aside the money. You saw in the federal court settlement that they only offered $2 billion in change for NYCHA, spread out over 10 years. And this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like when the politicians say they care about NYCHA. They say, here, come take the ball with me. And then they take the ball away from you. And then you land on your back. Everyone remembers this cartoon when they were a child. This is how the politicians treat NYCHA. It's a joke, but it's not only a joke, it's cruel. It's a cruel because they're playing with their lives. And the solution we're going to present tonight is called the People's Budget. And with your support, if you support and adopt this People's Budget, we're going to take this citywide. And it's going to begin here. We vetted these ideas at open houses over the course of several weeks. We made some changes, but this is the plan that we're going to prepare tonight. You have copies of it when you came in here. These are the three important points about this People's Budget. The politicians claim that NYCHA needs $32 billion. We can identify $290 billion for NYCHA and public housing statewide and for other programs. The money exists. The legislation that we envision does involve some new taxes, but none of it is punitive, meaning it's not a burden. We're not here to create a burden. We're here to demand that public housing gets fully funded. And like I said earlier tonight, some of these ideas are already legislation ready. Meaning it's easy for the legislators to put them into a legislative body and have it voted on. These are not difficult ideas. This is the first one. This is has been sponsored up in Albany by New York State Assembly member Robert Rodriguez. This is a repeal of a co-op and condo tax abatement for the top 10%. This is legislation ready. This plan would generate $170 million per year. And if you calculate something called a net present value over 30 years, that involves a little financial calculation, that comes out to about $3.3 billion that's available right now, because that money can be borrowed against. This is money that's available for public housing statewide. Anything that comes out of Albany has to be money that's available for public housing statewide. This is the idea number two. This is an idea that's already been introduced in the state legislature and has been advocated by the state senator Julia Salazar. She would create 4 new income tax brackets for millionaires. This is just to create fair taxation for people, because wealthy people don't pay their fair share. Her plan would generate $2 billion per year in new income for the states. And if you calculate the net present value of that amount, that creates about $27 billion available now for bond issuance. This is not very complicated. If Julia Salazar can introduce this in Albany, what does that tell you about the city council members here in New York City? They could do something similar. They can do something similar. For number 3, we have someone who might want to come down. Roberto, would you like to come down and talk about this plan?
Please don't eat the paper.
Good evening, everyone. Bienvenidos a todo el mundo. My name is Roberto Rodriguez, a longtime resident of Justin. A short note, it's nice to be back in this building. I went to the school. And I went to this school when Chelsea built the Elliott houses there with also new. That was my first glimpse of what I call luxury housing. It was beautiful. I remember hearing the Gettysburg Address, and he was spoken here by a young boy named Simon. And I remember the line, of the people, for the people, and by the people. And this is what it's really all about. And what I'm talking about is the reversal of the stock transfer tax, which could generate anywhere between 16 and 22, $23 billion if they cut out the policy of actually paying that refund back to the people who paid it, which is Wall Street. That's our tax money that will be brought back to the people. It's money that's been paid by the people. It should be for the people. It should be help the people. And this is what we're doing. There's no kind of preservation of housing when you talk about demolition of 72 residential units with no place to replace all of them. That means some of them will be destroyed. And that means that many families that are waiting for this apartments won't have access to it at all. What we're here basically is to say to the people, to the city, to those who supposedly represent us, we've had enough. We need to take back our city, our economic future, and preserve public housing. This is the only reliable public housing in the world. La única verdadera vivienda económica es vivienda pública. Eso es lo que debe pasar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roberto. Roberto said that stopping the refund, the automatic refund of the stock transfer tax would generate at least $16 million. Sometimes there's estimates that there would be more. If you were to calculate the net present value of that, that comes out to $220 billion. This is a law that would have to go through Albany, but it can be done. Someone just has to show the moral courage to introduce this bill, and then we would have to advocate for its passage. But it can be done. I promise it can be done. Someone can start it. The work will be hard, but I'm sure we could do it. It just takes courage. If Julia Salazar can do this, if Robert Rodriguez can do this for their part, other people can come forward. The next idea, I believe, is something that can be done from the city. And to speak a little bit about it right now is Marnie Halassa from Fight for NYCHA.
Just the concept of building 4 new jails, when we're in an era now of trying to stop mass incarceration. So why are we doing that? And the priority is to fully fund NYCHA. So that's one thing. And also, crime is down. Crime is down. And also, the emphasis really should be on rehabilitation and education. It shouldn't be on, locking people up, putting them in solitary confinement. So we're in a whole new era now. And so the new jails, I think, is, we need to, again, like it says, reallocate $10 billion from 4 new jails, then to replace Rikers Island. But again, yes, we need a New York City Council sponsor. We can provide $10 billion in total funds over time. And, again, the priority is to fully fund NYCHA because NYCHA is in a crisis. So when it's a crisis, that's not priority. So the jails are not a priority.
Thank you so much. Yes, and there are a lot of other groups arguing the same thing. But because they're trying to close jails, politicians look at that as something that's extreme. It's not extreme. The other thing that needs to be considered is that cash bail has been shown to be racist. It's also unfair to people who don't earn a lot of money. Cash bail is something we also want to end, and if we do bring an end to cash bail, we won't need jails anymore. We won't need certainly 4 new jails. And just to be clear, we don't oppose